Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter where we are in this world or what time zone we're in, we can all come together in one place and have amazing conversations. So I'm here today as the host of Blue TV, which is Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, and y'all can do the time zone shift for whatever time zone you're in yourselves. But I'm so excited to be here. I want to welcome everyone to the show today, where we're going to talk about content, what to post and what not to post, so that really you want to develop content that actually really connects. So that being said, I am a solo host today. We have no guest, which I haven't done in a while. So I'm super excited to do that. Please let us know where you're located from in the comments below. And even if you're on team replay, leave the hashtag team replay and we'll come back and have amazing conversation with you even after the show has finished. So with that being said, I'm here in Houston, Texas. I am the founder of the Celevators program. I'm a sales coach, consultant, and fractional sales leader, but I host Blue TV, which is really an opportunity for us to bring in some amazing individuals or have amazing topics like today, so that when we're done with this episode, you walk away with some amazing, great tips that you can implement right away that will enable you to accelerate what you're doing here on LinkedIn. So with that being said, first up, I want to make sure that I recognize those that are commenting. So be sure to leave your comments. You can leave your questions. We'll answer them as we go. But again, I want to thank everyone for being here. So let's dive right into the topic. But before we do, let me make sure, and I want to make sure I do this throughout a couple of different times, but we are sponsored by Market Me More, by Top Voices Unite, and by Celevators. So thank you to our sponsors. If you don't know any of those, be sure to go check them out. For all of your marketing needs, go to Market Me More. All of your sales needs, Celevators, and Top Voices Unite is really about bringing leaders together who make an impact or want to make an impact. So be sure to check each of those out and we'll remind you again later. So Melanie is calling in from the Philippines. Thanks to have you here. Reminder, I'm here in Houston. So let's talk about content that connects, right? What to post and what not to post. The goal is that not only will you have some great tips that you can take away, but also that you will learn maybe what the common mistakes are, right? And what not to do to avoid those mistakes. To also look at how to move from self-promotion to telling a story, like service-driven stories, and then what type of posts really build relationships. So those are going to be what I hope that you get out of this session today. So be sure again to comment below, let us know, one, where you're located, and two, provide us any questions that you might have so we can make sure we can answer those. And I don't really know why, but I am a bit shiny today, so I apologize for that. All right, let's start diving right in. So what's the number one mistake, or what's a big mistake that most make here on LinkedIn when generating content? Does anyone know? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. But if you don't know, let me tell you. And it's really the biggest mistake that I see, that I've learned from some amazing individuals, specifically Corey Warfield. If you don't know him, make sure you go follow him, is not to make it about you. Most people make the posts about them, right? So what I mean by that is anytime that you are creating a post and you use you, I, me, you, I, me, those are posts all about you. People feel like at that time that you're talking at them rather than talking with them. So how do we shift that? How do we change it? Anytime you're using you, me, and I, replace that with we, us, our, their. THEIR, there. Right? Make it all about them, like you're telling a story, like you're making it like they're part of the conversation. You always want to think about generating your content as a way to foster conversation. It's not about ensuring that they know who you are and what you do. Yes, they are going to figure that out. You want them to know that. They're going to figure that out as you go along, which we're going to talk about that later. But I really want you to think about what we should be look at that, I changed it. What we should be thinking about is making sure that we're fostering conversation. We don't really want to see someone or hear or read someone who's saying something about I, rather than we. So always make it we. And I think if you can make that just that one shift, if you don't take anything away from this conversation, the one shift is to shift the way you say that. So how do we, or how you position that? So how do we do that effectively? The best way to do that is when you generate your post, you've written it all out, whether you've typed it, maybe you've handwritten it, doesn't really matter. But then as you look through, anytime you've got me, you, I, go through and change it to we, us, our, their, THEIR. Find a way to shift it so that it's talking with them rather than talking at them. Okay, that I hope is your number one tip. The second is really about how do we move from self-promotion to service-driven? How many of you have actually at the end of your post written, hey, I'm Denise Murtha Bachmann. I am the founder of Cellivators. If you need anything sales related, ring my bell, reach out to me, whatever. How many of you have actually posted or included that in your post? I tried it. And it did not bode well. Like I did not have any success with that because that is a form of self-promotion. So maybe the self-promotion isn't really that straightforward, right? Maybe it's not that you've left a signature such as, hey, ring my bell, reach out to me, here's what I do, right? Maybe it's a little less in your face and more subtle. But regardless, you want to get away from telling them about what you do and how you do it and really focus more on creating content that's engaging. So instead of saying something like, here's what I did, how about maybe shifting that to, here's the challenge and here's how we might be able to overcome just based on some of the experiences that I've had. Right? It's instead of, again, it's going back to that concept that we talked about in the first bullet point, which is really centered around, not avoiding the I, me, you, you're talking at them. You want to talk with them. So they're more apt, we as just human consumers of content, right? We want to feel as though we are engaging in conversation again. And the only way to do that, or the only way that we'll want to do that, is by really engaging with those that are talking about how what some of the challenges are and how we can overcome them, rather than here's what I did. Nikki says, love the grammar there because they need to know positioning education is about our and their opportunities to collaborate. Correct. I mean, Nikki couldn't have summarized it any better. So Nikki, glad to have you and Melanie both out here. For those of you that are also out there, be sure to let us know by dropping either where you're located or asking a question, commenting on our content here. Any of that would be wonderful. And if you're not here on Team Live, but are here on Team Replay, be sure to leave us the hashtag Team Replay. But yes, again, in the first two, themes or the first two takeaways, it's really about making it all about them and not at all about us. And that's regardless of whether you're selling or whether you are just wanting to engage. Fostering conversation. People want to engage with you when they feel like they're a part of it. And then the third is really, what type of posts build relationships? So it's definitely not the self-promotion post, right? It's really the posts that are, leaving good tips that are helpful, right? They are the ones that are videos. I mean, videos are amazing. If you can generate, and yes, the ones that go viral that have nothing to do with you, right? But you can relate a story to those, videos do really well, but it's in how you engage with them, right? Primarily it's really, again, making them a part of the conversation. So it's not about, what you don't want to do is like posts that are generic, right? That have no content. Like, for example, I have seen a ton of people trying to jump on this viral video bandwagon. So they find this cute animal video, and because it went viral somewhere else on another platform, they post it, and then they just generate content that has nothing to do with what they do or what their expertise is, right? And let me better describe that. Because again, we don't want to do self-promotion, right? So it's really about, for example, I did a post where there was a guy who was playing the piano, and it was hilarious, right? It was awesome to watch. But I related that back to lessons in sales that we can take away. And that video hit, I think, probably 200,000 plus views and impressions, because it was something that caught their eye, but also then really honed in and drove in, the value in having fun in sales, right? Doing a general video of yourself, like a solo video. I have done quite a few of those. And the value in that is they get to see who you are. They get to see you making mistakes. So you allow them to see what we call your vulnerable state, right? They see your personality, but you're also then providing like a great tip, something that's, that they can take away and learn from. Oh, Anna's out there from Ireland. It does say just LinkedIn user, at least here on StreamYard, but she is from Ireland. Yes, it's still showing up as LinkedIn user. That's Anna Rooney. So thank you for being out there. And we'd want to, which leads me into, showing this vulnerable self, allowing them to see your personality. We want to avoid a lot of automation. I am a huge AI advocate. AI enthusiast, probably more so an AI enthusiast. I love technology. I sold it for years, right? Automation, AI, machine learning. I love technology, but we want to avoid, when you're generating content, you want to avoid leveraging tools that generate content for you. So what I mean by that is, if you are creating a post utilizing ChatGPT, you need to really take that and craft it and make it your own. You can use it as an idea generator, but when you have hyphens in the middle of a sentence, when you have emojis everywhere, you can tell that it's ChatGPT generated. And so we want to avoid that. We want to start leveraging our own personalities and the way we write. We have Anatoly is out there, LinkedIn to sell or not to sell. Oh, that's a good question. Let me come back to you on that. So keep that up if you don't mind, Melanie. I will come back to that question in just a second. So I would say that, be sure that you avoid letting people know that you're leveraging a technology tool, right? So let's go. So to summarize, some of the content that really creates connection, it's allowing them to see you, hear you, understand you, but in a way in which it's invoking conversation, right? So videos are amazing if you use them in the right way. And we can come back to that here in a minute. I do want to answer Anatoly's question, which is to sell or not to sell here on LinkedIn, because look, this is, I think, a more generalized question. We all sell. Whether you are a salesperson by profession or not, whether you want to acknowledge that you're a salesperson, we are all selling every single day. If you are selling you are either selling your expertise, your knowledge, you are selling your accomplishments, you're selling the project that you want to either start or that you've completed. Yes, you might be selling a product and a service. Those are hard sales discussions, meaning those are true sales discussions, but we are having sales discussions every single day, whether you realize it or not. So use LinkedIn. It's a professional platform to definitely sell. So you should sell, but in a non-salesy way. So how do we do that? The way we sell so that it's not salesy at all is making it, again, going back to the 3 topics that we talked about here as it relates to good content, making it all about them, your prospect, your client, your audience, and not at all about you. No one, as if you think about just us as human beings, we do not want, we love to talk about ourselves, and we don't love to listen to people talk about themselves. Instead, if you want to engage or foster conversation, make it all about them, right? Make it, and even not just in the DMs, because that's really important. And that can be a whole nother topic that we can talk about. But even in your content, make it again all about them. So Anatoly, first off, I hope I pronounced your name right. Second, I'm excited that you're here and appreciative that you asked that question. And third, I hope that I answered it. My summary to that would be, yes, use LinkedIn as a way to sell, because inherently we are all using it to sell in one way or another. But how we do it is going to be key. And this relates back to the topic that we're talking about, which is, content that creates connection, right? And it's all about making it about them and not at all about you. So I hope I answered your question. If we think about, let's go back to, in general, about how we make it about us, or about them and not about us. Sorry about that. How do we make it about them? So first off, we use the we, us, our, and not I, me, you, right? We, us, our, and not I, we, I, me, you. And we engage them in ways, our content should be posts that are really engaging, in which we're sharing information. And again, not making it about what I do, what I've learned. Instead, here is an opportunity for us to come together and learn how to do sales better. The way we can do that is by making sure we personalize our engagement when we are sending DMs, right? So it's we, our. I now instinctively or habitually just use those terms, we, us, our, rather than I, me, you, very often. Like, it just flows out, because I've learned to change the way I engage, again, because that's how people want to engage, right? And the types of posts that are really going to do well are those that are purposeful, that are thoughtful, that are bringing great tips, that are videos are a great way to do that, right? Leveraging your own self. Sudha says it's a subtle balance of writing inspiring content and building expertise, and have customers come to you inspired by your content rather than actively selling. I could not have said that better, Sudha. And again, I hope I pronounced your name accurately, and welcome. Thank you for being out there. I think that a way to do that is, well, first off, let's talk about, when we go back to Anatoly's question, which was to sell or not to sell on LinkedIn, right? What you want to get to in all of your work that you're putting in, all of the content that you're generating, which, by the way, doesn't have to be your own content, like your own posts. It can also be engaging in comments, right? In whatever content you're generating, you want to generate it in a way that you are building inbound leads rather than outbounding. The modern way of selling is to avoid a lot of those outbound activities, which are generic emails, even if they're personalized, but the emails and phone cold calling, those don't work anymore. Cold anything just has a much lower success rate. And so if you want quality over quantity, it's really about generating content that brings those inbound leads to you. As Sudha said, rather than having to actively sell, you are selling again. We talked about that. We're all selling here on LinkedIn when we are generating content. But when we do that in a way that is evoking conversation, it's inspiring, as Sudha said, inspiring your prospects and your clients. They're going to come to you rather than you having to go to them. That's generating inbound leads versus outbound leads. And we want to get to that point. So it's going back and writing inspiring content and building expertise. And how do we do that? We go back to this thought around the first 2 points, which is making it all about them and not at all about us by using we, our, theirs, us. And by instead of saying, here's what I did, right? Hey, here's the challenge that we are being faced in sales today. And here's how we can overcome that. You can share, kind of your statement in the first part of that. And then you share a personal story, how, you know, the way I was able to do this. And then you can share your story, like just a little blurb about you so you can relate a story to the topic. That does help. And that's the one time you're allowed to use I, right? But making the content so that it's engaging, so that it's fostering conversation. So we don't write the posts that are generic, the ones where, hey, do you agree? Where you ask them to comment, hey, do you agree or disagree? Well, there's no substance to that. Making sure that your content has substance, that the questions you ask have substance, that they're purposeful, right? And avoiding using automation. But one of the things I want you to think about, though, content isn't really made to go viral. It's really to foster those deep connections. So if I were, one thing I'd love for you to do, Suda, Anatoly, Melanie, Nikki out there, look at your last 5 posts. If someone were to read them in a row, let's just say, if they were to read the last 5 posts that you wrote, would they know who you are, what you do, what you care about, who you help, without you actually having to say it? If they can't, if you've had to remind them of what you do, if you've been self-promoting, like we talked about how to move from self-promotion to service-driven, if you've been self-promoting, then you need to change your content. If they can't tell who you are, what you do, you need to change your content. Anna, I meant to mention Anna out there as well. Thank you, Anna. So be sure to use that maybe as a way to really evaluate whether or not you're writing good content. And if no one is engaging, then you also obviously need to determine why they might not be engaging. Are you not posting at the right time? Are you not trying different things? Are you making it about you and less about them? So let's talk about, I've given you some tips, right? The topic today is really about building content that creates and fosters connection, right? What to do and what not to do. The three things that we talked about, 3 takeaways from today are really about making it less about you, and if at all, and all about them. So how do we do that? By making sure we use we, us, our, their, instead of I, you, and me. And then also, engaging with them in a way that is talking with them instead of at them. So, instead of saying things like, this is what I learned, here's the challenge that we all face in sales. Here's how we can overcome that, potentially. And then you can share a little blurb about you and what you uncovered, and then bring it back to the we, our, there at the end to close it out. So build content that really resonates with them by making it about them and what they can learn and the value of that. Why is that so important? What's the problem? How can we solve to it? And here's the value that it brings to you or to us. And then creating, leveraging different types of content, such as video, where they can see you, right? They get to learn who you are. These types of lives are awesome. People get to see your personality, your quirks. I mean, before, I used to be really weary of how I might project myself. And I think the first time I actually let go, I snorted, which I snort when I laugh really hard. I don't intend to do that. It just comes out. And when I first started, I'd have been completely embarrassed. Now it's kind of who I am, right? It's the quirky part of me that it's okay for others to see. So allowing them to see that vulnerability in lives, in solo videos of yourself, but sharing tips and things that can help them improve over what they're doing today is so very important in a way. And you can leverage other types of content like viral videos if you can tell a story around it that relates to what you do. But going back to not making it about you by having to explicitly tell them what you do, right? They want to learn about you and what you do, who you help, how you, how you help solve problems through your content, but not by telling them exactly. So in order to do that, in order to evaluate whether or not you're meeting some of these tips or whether you are actually needing help with what you're doing today, is to go back and look again, your last 5 posts, and see whether or not people know who you are, what you do, how you help them, the problems you're trying to solve in a way that allows that without you having to have said it directly. Anna says, very practical tips, tested and great results achieved. Thank you. Melanie also had a content. She's had a comment. She said, got content in my brain, right? As I see it, it seems creating content that generally shows who you are and what you can do with other people or what you can share to the world or by just the posts you make is really important on LinkedIn. Well, if we talk about most of those of us who are, those of us who join me on Blue TV, we are, and I don't mention this very often purposely, right? Because it's not really about being a LinkedIn top voice, but those of us who are LinkedIn top voices are usually who are participate in this show. We've achieved something because the algorithm, because the people at LinkedIn really have appreciated our content and what we do. And the only way to do that is to go back and create content that connects. Make it all about your prospect, your clients, your audience, and not at all about you. By sharing great tips in a way that helps them solve to a problem, right? Without it being about how you did it, instead, how we can solve a problem that we are faced with today. And then by leveraging different types of content by, such as video, live streams. When we're talking video, it's personal videos like your solo videos as well as viral ones, but only if with the viral that you can tie a story to it. When you engage in, or when you ask for engagement, make sure that it's a question that is truly engaging, not just, do you agree or do you disagree? Do you agree that sales should be and why? Do you not agree? Or do you not agree with that simply, right? Make it so that there's some meat to it, that each of your posts are purposeful and thoughtful, just as much as your comments should be. So because this is a solo show today, we are not going to stay on here as long as we normally do, but I'm super excited to have had you guys out here. We've had Anna, Melanie, Nikki. We've also had Anatoly, sorry, Sudha. So I want to thank everyone for being out there and engaging. Again, we are here on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, and then you guys can figure out the rest of the time zones. The purpose for Blue TV is really to bring amazing people here who have had success here on LinkedIn, learn a little bit about what they do, and then practical tips that you can walk away with, that you can enact immediately so you too can see some accelerated success here on LinkedIn. Each week we have a different topic. This is our second season, and it is sponsored by Market Me More. For all of your marketing needs, reach out to Nikki and team there. Top Voices Unite, which is a group of individuals who are really thought leaders, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, leaders who really want to make an impact. If you want to be a part of, if you want to as well make impact, go to Top Voices Unite, learn a little bit about what they're doing, and then Celevators, which is all things sales. I am excited to have had you guys here. For those of you that have been live, I appreciate your engagement. If you are on Team Replay, make sure that you leave the hashtag Team Replay so we can come back and have amazing conversation with you as well. I want to thank everyone who participated. Our topic today was really content that connects, what to post, what not to post. Your 3 takeaways should be: make it all about them and not at all about you by using we, us, our instead of you, me, I. Create content that is actually engaging, right? It's not about what you learned, it's what here's the problem that we in sales are being faced with, and here's how we can solve to that. And if you want to add an example that that really highlights or drives that point in, you can most certainly tell a little bit of a story about you and what I learned, but then you tie it back to we, us, our at the end. And then leveraging content that varies, right? Not always doing text, although text can be good sometimes, right? But making it also with creating content with videos and creating content that fosters that engagement. Your tip today is not only, if you don't take anything else away, it should be we, us, our. So make sure that you write your post, whether you type it or handwrite it, it doesn't matter. Go back, and anytime you've used I, me, you, change it to we, us, our. The second tip is go look at your 5 most recent posts and see whether or not people can actually tell who you are, what you do, how you help, what problems you're trying to solve to, without you having to say it. If they don't see any of that without you having to say it, then we need to figure out how to change your content so that they can see that. So that means you need to change the topics that you're writing about, or how you foster that conversation. So the way you write it. If they do see that because you've put in, hey, I'm Denise Murtha Bachmann and founder of Cellivators, ring my bell or stop by and check out my post or go check out my newsletter. If you are having to self-promote, then you want to avoid that as well. So the goal is to create content that doesn't self-promote, is service-led, fosters conversation, and engages and builds deeper connections with your audience, your connections, your network, etc. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. I want to thank Market Me More and Top Voices Unite, Melanie and team, all of you that have been out there, Anna, Anatoly, Sudha, Melanie, of course, Nikki. I want to thank everyone for being out there. Be sure to go check out Market Me More, Top Voices Unite, and Cellivators. We're here again next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, and have a great rest of your day. Leave your comments below and let us know some of the challenges you're facing. And let's see if we can help you, right? So if you've watched this show and you're still struggling and you don't know what to change, let's have a conversation. We can make sure that we start to help you change what you're doing so that you get greater impact, that you get greater engagement and better impact. So I want to thank you guys again. Have a great rest of your day. Melanie says, huge thanks. Thank you. So many gems on the authentic connection. Top Voices Unite, LinkedIn content, hashtag Team Live, hashtag Team Replay. Let us know where you're at. And I'm signing out from Houston, Texas. So thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Hump Day.